All right, back in action. It has been a hot minute. For those of you who are watching via video and or YouTube, you'll probably notice a fun little stick in my microphone. That is a story for another day. But long story short, this is my old microphone and she is slightly broken, but still working perfectly. And the stick is holding it in place. So thank you, stick. Thank you, Mother Nature. Thank you, past Nikki, for having a another mic because this makes it so much easier. But we have our not tea today. It is a reishi cacao hot chocolate. Thank you, Bloom. This is not sponsored by Bloom, but if Bloom would love to sponsor this, so happy to be here. It is Canadian made, and you know we love shopping local. And this is so delicious. It is, again, not sponsored, but low caffeine. So delicious. I have it with a little bit of almond and cashew milk, a little bit of water, and got some water over here as well. Hydration is key. But without further ado, let's get on with the podcast.
Hi, everyone. You're tuning in to the Perfectly Powerfully You podcast, a space of epic positivity, radical self expression, and transformational growth. Join me in celebrating this beautiful thing we call life with even greater ease, flow, and authenticity.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Perfectly Powerful You podcast. I'm your host, Nikita, and I trust, hope, and expect you all are having a super duper, tremendous, wonderful, exciting, and amazing day. When I am recording this, it is Friday the 13th in June 2025. And honestly, I would like to think this more of a lucky day versus an unlucky day. And so far, things are going great. So, for wherever you are at, you might be listening to this on your own Friday the 13th, in which case, woohoo! How did you make it through? I am sending all the positive vibes your way and looking forward to transcending even more limiting beliefs. Today, we're not talking about limiting beliefs. We are going to be diving deep into shifting our perspective, releasing energy, and cultivating an even greater conscious awareness of designing the dreams of your hearts. And how we can do that by being the people who align with the dream as opposed to chasing and getting to it. So let's get into it because there's a lot of juicy nuggets. Some may be things you already know. Some may be things that you've just learned. But the invitation today, as always, is to lean in with an open heart and open mind because you are someone different today. You are someone who has encountered different people, you've eaten different foods, you have breathed different air. So, ergo, everything inside your body is slightly different. Therefore, there's something new for you here today, or I trust that you would not be here. So, again, open invitation. Let's take a deep breath together. And let's lean into what we can channel even more of today as conscious creators of our divine, beautiful life, as human beings, or rather soulful beings, having this radiant human experience, and how we can tune our energy and be the people who show up differently, who channel forgiveness, who channel compassion for ourselves and for others, and how we use this all this stored up energy of negativity, of low vibration, of resentment, of blame, of judgment, and how we transmute that, transform that into energy we can use to cultivate the life that we would love living, not from a place of victimhood, but from a place of empowerment. So, if that sounds super fantastic for you, I know it does for me, continue watching and or listening because I'm looking forward to it. Now, something that has been coming to mind for me, which I would love to propose for you fine folk out there, are is a question. Have you been feeling stuck in a when then mentality? When this happens, then I can feel this. For example, When this person shows up differently, then I can feel better about them and our relationship. Now, when you close your eyes or just proposes to yourself, listen honestly. What is coming up for you? I have found that when I've been playing with and toying with this when then mentality, I personally feel myself feeling very stuck. And when I've asked a lot of my clients, they also have found themselves in a loop or feeling like this cycle of stuckness or feeling locked into a particular circumstance or state of being or situation that they really, really want to get out of and they want to feel differently. So they think that when the situation changes, when the person changes, when the flow of money changes, then they can feel better about their lives. But as conscious creators and conscious manifestors of the life that we would love living, we choose to feel differently even before things are manifested in our physical reality. And what does this mean for us? It means that we let go of this victim mindset, that something is happening to us, life is happening to us, or we can't feel better about this person, or we feel locked into the state of resentment and blame because this person is being a certain way and they're being mean to us. They're being judgy to us, and in which case we're feeling judgy to them. And so, in this state of when then mentality, it can feel very seductive to want to stay there. Now, when you ask yourself and you notice, oh, right, I have been locked into this when then mentality, why is it important for us to ask ourselves to pause, breathe, think, and shift this mentality even before things shift before our manifested reality? Well, it's important for us to first recognize that anything we resist will persist. And this also means that whatever we're focusing our attention on will continue to grow. I've often used this in past podcasts, but where your attention goes, energy flows. And so we want to be aware of where we're locking ourselves into energetically, mentally, and spiritually in this loop of stuck mentality. And so reminding ourselves that if we want a flower to grow, we give it life, we give it water, we give it attention. When it's requiring something from us, we give it food, nourishment. Same thing with a relationship. If there's a relationship you'd love to cultivate, even like something even better, then you'll give it your attention. Or if you love a business to grow, then you're going to give that more of your attention. You're going to give it your energy. You're going to give it your mental energy, your time. So it's understandable that when we think about it from this perspective, if we want something to grow, we give it our precious life force. And at the same time, as conscious co-creators, we want to recognize what we're thinking about in certain ways. So there may be a tendency to say, oh, yes, I would really, really love this relationship to flourish better, but they're showing up like a quote unquote dickhead, or they're not showing up in the way that I want them to, so I can't. I can't foster this relationship in the way that I want because they're not being nice to me. They're showing up in a way that I'm feeling really so much contracting feelings behind. So, how am I supposed to feel better about them, to feel better about my life, to feel better about this relationship when it is clear to me that they are not showing up in the way that I want? And this is where the fun part begins. This is where the shadow work, the inner soul work, the conscious co-creating comes in. This is when you get to take yourself away from victim mentality. Oof. And you get to be the heroine of your own story. You get to be the one to rise up. And this is also where you get to lift some heavy weights or heavier weights, however heavy you want it to be. You've probably heard the saying, you're not going to lift a 50-pound weight until you start lifting five of them. And so let's, for example, picture someone in your life that you're not having a great relationship with, and you would love it to transform. Not necessarily to cultivate something deeper with them, but you just want to release the icky feelings. You want to release the contracting feelings in your gut. You want to release the judgment. You want to release the blame. You want to release the resentment. Why? Not for them, but for you. Because all of this stored energy that's being directed to resentment, blame, guilt, shame, you did this to me, I'm not happy with you. That's a lot of energy that you could be creating and using and honing towards, well, something greater, more money in your life, more happiness in your life, more freedom in your life, more peace in your life. Because the woman who is living the life that you would love living, the highest version of yourself, who has the money, who has the great job, who has the loving relationships, is not focusing on all the crappy things that are going on in their life because they're too busy focusing on the wonderful things. And so the invitation again is to start doing this now. And it doesn't have to be a big leap. I know for myself that there have been some people and some content in my life that have required me to do a lot of soul searching. And I found myself stuck in a when then mentality. And I also found myself um, I found myself in a very distinct fight or flight state. I was feeling very, very triggered. And this is when I was able to allow myself and hold space for, I don't know how this is going to unfold in the ways that I want it to. But I asked myself, Nikita, are you willing to release this energy? Are you willing to cultivate something greater? And are you willing to see this person differently? And if I was honest with myself, there's a part of me that felt a lot of resistance because there's a part of me that really wanted to hold on to this anger because there was a certain justification in the way that I was viewing this person where they wronged me and I felt justified in feeling hurt because that's what I felt. I felt so hurt. So hurt that I wanted to run away. I wanted to just not have to deal with the situation, not have to deal with this person. And every time they came up in the front of my mind, I would continue to attack them and say, you wronged me. You should be the one apologizing. I've done nothing but kind things, and I don't deserve any of this. And so you can feel this energy of wrongdoing. And there was a certain level of satisfaction in continuing to put this person in the jail of my mind because this pain that I was feeling very justified in the ways that I was holding them in my mind. And so when I first asked myself this question, Nikki, are you willing to see them differently? Are you willing to see the situation differently? My first instinct was not really. I'm feeling too far in this right now that I don't want to because I feel so much hurt that I don't know what to do with it, but feeling in this victim mindset is helping in some way. And so I said, okay. I was like, stay here for as long as you want. And that actually really helped soften things for me when I just allowed myself to feel this level of pain and hurt. That I wasn't necessarily at that point saying, I forgive them, it's all good, it's peachy keen, because at the level of fact, I didn't feel peachy keen. I didn't feel that I was ready to let go of it. There was something about holding on to it that was serving me in that moment. And that allowed me to start bridging, not from A to Z, but from A to B. And so I'll invite you now to think of that person, think of the situation, that when it comes to your mind, when they come to your mind, you feel that contraction. You feel that validation in putting them in the jail of your mind, that you feel like, nope, they need to stay there because. And allow yourself to just feel that and say, you know what? I do feel wronged, or I've done the wronging. And you know what? Like in this moment, I think that this is serving me. And just feel the relaxation away from trying to resist those feelings. And just allow yourself to soften a little bit and allow yourself to say, you know what? That's okay. Feel it. Feel this anger, feel the betrayal, feel this level of wrongdoing, and feel it for however long you need to feel it. And then let's check back and say, in an hour, in a day, in a week, how are you feeling? Are you willing to see this situation differently? Are you willing to start doing some forgiveness work? Are you willing to free up some space so that you don't have to continue to perpetuate this level of pain? Are you willing to see that there's something more here? Are you willing to see that person differently and how they showed up exactly as they needed to? That this situation unfolded exactly the way it needed to in order for you to cultivate and continue to grow your heart space, because that's also what we're here to do. And when we're coming from this idea of curiosity, when we're coming from this space of, okay, I am a soulful being having human experience, and I recognize that on the human level, I can be hurt. I can do the hurting. I can feel betrayal. I can do the betraying. I also recognize that if I'm on this earth for a reason to grow, learn, and expand, that there's something more here for me, and that I'm the only one feeling this pain right now. And for however long that I am willing on the human level to feel this pain, then I'm allowing that to be okay. And is it also okay for me knowing that everything is neutral? And sometimes this helps if you're not in a space to allow yourself to feel that, and that's okay. Just take it for what it is. But something that helped me after saying, feel the pain, Nikki, feel the betrayal, feel the fact that you want to run away, you want nothing to do with this, and you just want it to be in the past where you want it to be, and you want to feel the victimhood. And I said, okay, cool. And then I said, okay, well, what if there was something more here? What if we cultivated a space of neutrality? And I'll just ask my body, am I okay to cultivate the space of neutrality? And I listen to, for me, it's my gut. If I felt contraction anywhere in my stomach or my chest, I would just get a little bit curious and say, okay, am I willing to see that there's something more here? And so I'd feel myself like open up a little bit. Okay, I'm still feeling hurt, but I'm willing to see that there's something a little bit different here. And so I kept bridging. Okay, I maybe can't go from A to Z, but I can go from A to B to C. Okay, let's just continue to lean into this. And when you're on this forgiveness journey, because it is a journey, you might come back to this years from now, and it may be something that feels really, really big right now. And it might feel a little bit smaller and a little bit smaller and a little bit smaller until you're like, oh, I'm actually really, really grateful that this happened. Because you're far enough away from it. You've done enough work that you can cultivate that space, but it might not be now. And I want you to allow yourself to feel wherever you're at with this judgment, shame, guilt, blame, betrayal, wherever you're at. It might be big, it might be small, it might be a little bit medium, but ask yourself genuinely, authentically, how is this feeling on a scale of 1 to 10? Is this feeling like, nope, I've done the work. I just want to cultivate another space of forgiveness, remove that layer, free up that energy so I can feel better? Or is this a 10 out of 10? Like, I am really, really not okay right now. I am not in a place to do this. Just figure that out and then continue to just keep scaling. And it doesn't need to be all at once, but a gradual journey. Now, during the situation that I was experiencing was one particular person, there was a part of me that needed that space. That when I mentioned before, huge into fight and flight, my body was revved up and ready to go. And so I found myself channeling that energy. And remember that as conscious dream builders, co-creators of our life, we want to pay attention to the subtleties that the woman in my vision and the woman in your vision is saying, you know what? Life is amazing. Life is fantastic. I'm so happy with my job. I'm so happy with the career around me. I'm grateful for all the money in my life. I'm grateful for the place that I've cultivated. I am feeling so thankful that not everything is as picture perfect, but you know what? I love my life. I don't need to run anywhere. I don't need to go and get anything because everything that I have is here and now. Versus what I was feeling in that moment was things are not okay. This person is doing me wrong. I feel like I need to run away and find something new. Completely different energies, right? And so as conscious dream builders, we are not, and as Mary Morrissey says, we're not, our dream is not something that we chase and get. It is something that we live from and align with. And so I had to, and I allowed myself to pause, breathe, and just realize what is going on in my mind space. So I needed to ask myself pretty genuinely, okay, Nikki, you're running away. You're wanting to leave a space because you think that when you leave somewhere else, then things will be perfect. When you're not there, then you'll be somewhere else, then everything will be peachy keen. And I found myself realizing, oh my goodness, is this the when then mentality? Nikki, let's celebrate ourselves. Let's just be here in the now. Great job, girl. You're doing fantastic. When is this, then is that. That's okay. But what about the now? Remember, the now is the only time that will ever exist, and the now is so precious. The future is so uncertain. The past is already done, but here and now, we get to choose how we want to feel. Okay, let's just start there. And there was a point when I was just coaching myself through this situation of very heightened emotional energy that I was feeling, that allowing myself to feel what I needed to feel. And then as I found myself coming down a little bit from that emotional, like really heightened state of energy, just kind of feeling my way through, feeling my way through, feeling my way through. And when I caught myself saying, when I leave, when I get a new job, when I'm in a new space, then I can feel better about all of this because I won't be here. And something popped up into my mind, and I said, there will always be another. And then I stated the person's name. There will always be another person. There will always be another situation. So, how do you want to show up now? And I got chills when I heard that because there's something that rang so true to that I caught myself in a pattern. And this might resonate with you. You might be in a pattern of fight or flight where someone's showing up in a certain way and you're like, "Oh, I need to fight this person. I need to show up and I need to justify myself. I need to tell it like it is. I need to tell them off." You're fighting that. Or you're like, whoa, this is not okay. This person's not showing up great. I'm feeling triggered. I'm gonna run away because this situation right here, not where I want to be. And so we just notice and we celebrate ourselves for noticing. And this is when we then are able to say, okay, if I know that this is a pattern, whoa, fantastic. A paradigm's popping up. This is great. Paradigms only show up when you're on the green growing edge of your own becoming. And as you up level yourself, and you will always be up leveling yourself. It's never a one and done. We're always consciously creating even greater versions of our life, and we're stepping into a new and next level, like in Mario. You know that the game's never done. You're just going to hit a level and it's going to get a little bit harder. But every time you pass, you're like, oh my gosh, well, I already did this. I already knew about this trick. I already knew that this eating or having this leaf turns me into a flying raccoon. And then I can go and like fly to other places. Like, you'll get cheat codes along the way. But until you pass that certain level, you won't be able to move on to the next. But every time you do move on to the next, there's going to be something else that helps you up level yourself. And so I was like, whoa, okay, I'm feeling triggered. Awesome. Maybe not awesome in the moment, but awesome. Okay, I'm on the other side of it now, so I can see this. Okay, I'm feeling triggered. I'm noticing a pattern of blame, judgment, guilt, shame. I want to run away. Okay, cool. Noticing this, it's come up before. Pause, settle, breathe, find a safe and comfortable space to just work through this. Doesn't have to be all at once, but how would I love to show up? And the next question you can ask yourself when you're in this space, again, it doesn't have to be all at once, but when you find yourself open and receptive to receiving, okay, there's something more here for me. How do I want to show up? Do I want to show up as the person in the victim mindset who will fight this person or run away? Or do I want to do something more interesting? Do I want to show up as the version of me that leans into compassion? Would I love to see this person differently? Would I love to actually cultivate something where I can be surprised and delighted by how easy this could actually work out for me? And in that moment, I surprised myself because I was so deep into the trenches of blame, shame, guilt, judgment that when that popped into my head, I was like, oh, right. I'm realizing where I'm directing my energy, and it was not high vibrations, guys. It was not high vibrations, but that's okay. We don't have to all the time. We just notice when we're low vibe, when we're medium vibe, when we're high vibe. And by that I mean, are you feeling contraction? Are you feeling deeper in your body, a lot of anxiety or a lot of blame, guilt, shame, lower vibrations? Or are you feeling, oh, you know what? Compassion. There's something more here for me. I'm so happy and grateful now that. Also, I'd love to mention that the universe never gives us anything we can't handle. And the universe also gives us everything in alignment with not what we want, but who we are being. And I was being the person who was in a victim mindset at the level of fact. I was being the person who was feeling betrayed. I was being the person who wanted to run away, in which case, recognizing that and saying, okay, where do I want to go from here? But this is when I allowed myself a forgiveness practice mantra as many times as it took. And so when I saw this person, when the person came up in my mind, when I found myself stewing or ruminating over the circumstance, I paused. Again, pause is going to be your most fantastic tool in this department. When you find yourself running a cycle you don't necessarily want to run anymore, pausing, giving yourself the space, breathing deeply into your stomach, and allowing yourself to fully surrender to the present moment. And in this circumstance, I brought this person to my mind and I said, I forgive you completely. And I just noticed if I was thinking it or if I was actually feeling this level of forgiveness. If I wasn't at the time, which was likely, then I said, okay, no problem. I'll just run through this mantra. I forgive you completely. I forgive myself completely for how I was showing up, for how I was feeling about you and the thoughts that I was directing towards you. I forgive myself. I release you from our past. I release myself from our past. I wish you only good. I wish me only good. I want the best and highest situation to unfold here for you and for myself because I want this freedom. And that desire for freedom continued to spur and move this energy. It created some momentum here because I didn't want to I wanted at that moment to stop being a victim because I knew that there was a time for it, but it wasn't going to serve me forever. And so I said, okay, let's do this. And so I did it again. I said, I forgive you for the unskillful way that you showed up. Because I know that if it were me in that particular circumstance or situation, honestly, I'd probably show up the same way too. And so, just as I would want to be forgiven, I want to forgive you. And so, this is me trying. And as soon as I said, this is me trying, I don't have to be perfect at it, but this is me leaning into it. I forgive you completely. I release you from our past. I forgive myself completely. I release myself from our past because I realize I had a hand in this co-creative circumstance right here. We wouldn't have been here without both parties. And so I recognize that you had a hand in this and I had a hand in this. There's no one to blame here. This is just both of our thoughts, feelings, and actions coming together in dynamic tension. So I take us out of this victim mentality, this blame mentality, and I'm recognizing we are on equal playing fields here and that I want freedom from this. I want you to be free in my mind. So I forgive you completely. I release you from our past. I forgive myself completely. I release myself from our past. I want the only highest good for you. I want the only and highest good for me. I want us to move forwards from this in the best way it's meant to unfold. I don't know what that looks like. I don't know how it's going to be served, but I desire for us to be free. And so for yourself, I'll invite you, if this feels good for you, if this feels like it resonates, to begin this practice and notice what shows up. Because something not unexpected, because I know enough now about what happens when we shift our energy, about the delightful ways the universe will show up as we choose to shift our energy. And so, as it so happens that when I was willing to open up and not run away, and I was willing to hold space and confront something that felt very uncomfortable for me, which was a conversation with this person. And we both held space and we were honest with each other. We were authentic and we said something didn't feel right here. And this was a space that just happened very naturally that we said, okay, are we willing? And because we were both willing in this moment, something again felt a little bit uncomfortable in the moment because we were just getting the ball rolling with each other after some heated things. But we were like, okay, I recognize what happened. We told both of our stories. We were willing to understand. And the willingness to understand will also be a key component here. If you are able to hold space for understanding, when you're able to hold space for there's something more here for me to learn, when you're willing to hold space for, okay, I release this victim mindset, I release this blame, I want the best and highest good, how is this going to unfold? Then something so magical, so delightful can emerge from this. And it's okay that, again, it doesn't happen all at once. Take your time with this. Go at the speed of trust in your own body. When you can cultivate this feeling of trust within yourself to hold space, to know that you're not going to be hurt again, but we can't avoid hurt. That's something that helps me as well. And feel free to try this on. That we can't avoid pain. We can't avoid hurt or betrayal in our life. It's part of it. Doesn't feel great, feels icky sometimes, but when we recognize the gift in the pain, the gift in the betrayal, the gift in the shame, blame, resentment, judgment, when we can recognize and honor that we need this energy, because if we didn't hold all this negative space, if we didn't recognize that it existed, then we'd never understand the truest, deepest, most authentic version of what it means to be genuinely delighted and surprised by understanding, delighted and surprised and holding space for genuine forgiveness, to be surprised and delighted that, whoa, something new is coming from this, that I can feel actually better about this, that I can see you as a different person, that you're just trying, I'm just trying, that we can be unskillful, just like babies having a tantrum or fits and saying, you're just learning. I'm just learning. I forgive you. Of course, I forgive you. And when we are able to hold space for both, we recognize the clarity and beauty in the contrast. And when we're able to come to that space, again, sometimes being on the other side of things, hindsight's 2020, it can feel a lot better. But at least if you're being willing to be open to the space, magic and beauty can happen from it. And again, I remind you and myself in this space. And something I remind my clients about is that we don't do forgiveness work because it feels comfortable all the time. And we don't just do forgiveness work once. We do it daily, multiple times daily when the situation arises. And as conscious creators of the life that we would love living, we also recognize that if we're continuing to be stuck in this when then mentality, this victim mindset, we will always be stuck. And so it does require our conscious effort of energy shifting, energy transmuting, of this transformation and momentum to something else that nothing outside of us could ever change our internal state unless we let it. Eleanor Roosevelt said that all the water in the world cannot drown me if it doesn't get inside of me. And this means that if we see a circumstance or situation in our life that looks really, really bad, that at the level of fact, the way we're looking at it feels really, really bad, and how we're thinking about it, oh my God, is absolutely really, really bad. That water is coming into our boat, it is flooding it, it is sinking it, and therefore we are sinking our vibration. And so the metaphorical pails, so to speak, of just releasing some of that water, releasing that energy back into the ocean to be transformed to something better, that's part of our forgiveness work and compassion work and willingness to understand work. And so if we recognize we are the highest authority, you are the highest authority in your life, in your mind space. No one else is going to say, you should forgive this person. You should let that energy go. And once you do this, then I will gift you all this beautiful stuff. They're not going to do that because they have their own things to worry about. But no one else is going to get on their hands and knees and beg you for forgiveness and say, oh my God, I was so wrong. You were right. I understand this now, and now you can feel better because everything is good. I'm going to act exactly as you need me to act so you can feel good. Because I know that if I was acting bad, you would feel bad, and then this situation would be bad. No one's gonna do that. It might happen, of course, but it's really us. And this is when the true empowerment work and the respect for yourself and the safety and trust in yourself comes in. And oh, you feel so good when you know that you can do this without anything changing in your environment first. Wow, wow, wow. Does this ever take work? But wow, wow, wow. Does this ever feel good when you're on the other side of it? Again, when you're on the other side of it, but heavy lifting is not always comfortable in the moment. But when you realize that all the water in the world cannot drown you if it doesn't get inside you. You get to choose how you think about this situation. You get to choose how you want to show up. You get to choose if you're going to be the victim in your story or the heroine in your story. You get to choose. And that is a beautiful thing when we say, oh my gosh, I get to choose, don't I? I'm alive, aren't I? People don't always show up skillfully, do they? I don't show up skillfully all the time, do I? That I get to be alive. Whew, it's good to be alive, isn't it? And things are feeling better and better and better, aren't they? Yes, I can feel this momentum building. Yeah, it's building, isn't it? Yeah, it's continuing to grow. Ooh, I'm continuing to grow. Ooh, that feels good. Yes. Okay. I like this. Okay. How am I going to show up better? Okay. I can do this. My body, it's okay that it's not going to catch up right away, but I'm going to work with it. I'm going to continue to grow. That feels good. Okay. This is who I want to be. My energy, my thoughts, my feelings are going to manifest in my my reality eventually. And it's okay that things aren't necessarily what I prefer right now, but I'm choosing right now to let that be okay. Yep. Okay. I'm surrendering to this. I cannot control them. Nope, sure can't. I can't control all of this. Absolutely not. That's not my job. That would be a lot of work if it was my job. But I can control me. I can control my mind. Okay, whew. Well, that's a load off, isn't it? Yeah, okay. That feels good, doesn't it? To just surrender and let things be as they are, and to really allow the space of you don't have to go from A to Z. If you've been doing this work for a while, it might be easier. This might just be a really helpful reminder. But if you're just beginning this work and wanting to cultivate a space of forgiveness, knowing that you want a better life, because it feels good to have a nice life, doesn't it? And so forgiveness is a fantastic tool. Another quote that comes to mind is that forgiveness is a shift in perspective. And that shift in perspective removes a block in me to my awareness of love. It's a quote that I heard from both Bob Proctor and Mary Morrissey, where it allows us to respect our own autonomy and also respect life and feel grateful for life, that love never leaves a place. That even in a situation that looks most difficult, that looks very, very unfortunate, love never leaves a place. And that's also nice to know that the universe is breathing us, or what I like to call the universe, God, spirit, source, light, the energy all around us. Love's presence never leaves a place. It's always here. Even in a situation that looks like it sucks really bad and feels like it sucks really bad. And when we get to remind ourselves that love was always here, the block was in me this whole time, that nothing needed to change, I just needed to shift my awareness, to shift my perspective and allow things to be as they are, but to know that, hey, I get to open up my heart space, and that feels really good. That I get to hold capacity for greater love, that I get to be the one to co-create with the universe and say, you know what? Universe, God, spirit, source, light, I recognize that you are giving me this gift of what looks like something really sucky. But if I know that love never leaves a place and you have my highest intentions in mind, then that means there is a nugget of gold here. And I'm willing to see something more. And I'd also love to offer this before I leave you today. Ask for help. Ask for help from a higher mentor, someone who can hold greater space for you to not get caught up in the story, to not continue to perpetuate that victim mindset. Ask for help from a friend who maybe does meditating, maybe does their own forgiveness work, someone you know who will help you hold space for this compassion, this forgiveness. And you can also, if you don't have those people yet, ask help from your higher self and ask help from God, from spirit, from source, from light, and say, all right, universe, I am willing to receive. Please help me in this moment. Allow the highest and best good. I don't know how you're going to help and serve me, but I know that you have the highest and best for this person, for the situation. Please help them. Please help something unfold in the best and highest way. And please help me be more open to this. If you're willing to ask for help, help is always given. And this willingness to help, honestly, it really helped me in this moment when I asked, I was like, oh, please help me with this patience right now. Please, please, I need patience right now because I did. Please, please help me with this forgiveness I'm willing to receive. Right now, I'm not feeling it, but I'm willing to come to the space of peace, and peace is always given. Forgiveness is always given. It's give it as a given that it will be there and is right here, right now for you if you are willing to lean into it. I think this is a beautiful. I think this is a beautiful way of beginning season three of Perfectly Powerfully You. To start off with energy shifting, to start off with continuing to remind us that we are conscious creators, co-creators of the life that we would love living, that everything outside of us is an internal reflection of what's in us, and also that nothing needs to change for us to feel good about ourselves and our lives. And so if something resonated with you today, I would love, love, love for you to share it. If there's something more that you would love to work on that you want me to make a podcast on, please share it. Please DM me, comment down below, because I would love to serve and support you in the ways that work best for you. If you have something that you're like, oh my gosh, hey, what a light bulb going off in my head, please share it. And I know that for all of us getting together as people who are living the lives we love living, as people who are empowered beings that are showing up differently, we get to be the example for other people. And then beautiful light just dominoes around this world, and that is my intention. That is part of what I love doing, is not only being the example but being part of this shift, of being able to just disseminate light and love and being able to consciously co-create with you of how we can be better beings and continue to create lives that we love living, not just for us, although our lives are great, but for everybody, because we're all a part of this one big earth, this one big universe. And there's even more magic that happens when we get to combine our energies, combine our love to be something that everyone gets to benefit from. And so I trust, hope, and expect that you all have yourselves a super duper amazing, wonderful day. And I will look forward to talking with you guys in the next podcast. And if you guys would love to know what I've been up to for the past 6 months, spoiler alert, I've been in New Zealand for a little while, then let me know if you would love to have a video on that. I've got some fun videos um if you're on the Instagrams. I do have Instagram things about some of my adventures, but that'll be for a next time. Until then, love you guys so much, and may you all have a very blessed day.
Thank you all for joining me today, because it has been my absolute pleasure to be here with you. Make sure to give this podcast a 5-star review and share it with all your loved ones, because it helps in creating even more awesome content. If you're interested in learning how to effortlessly create even more health, vitality, and time and money freedom, sign up for my free monthly vision workshop live over Zoom. Until then, I hope you all have a powerful day, and I look forward to chatting with you all real soon.